Hi, so in this video we're going to look at the problem of primary product dependence, which is a big issue for many developing economies. Now we'll look at some of the advantages, then we'll look at the many disadvantages to start with. So if you have an economy that focuses on primary products, such as agricultural products like tea or coffee or cocoa, or rare metals such as zinc ore or copper ore or oil or gold, then you come across certain problems. However, the advantages are that if you have a plentiful supply of these products, then that does give you a competitive advantage, and it allows economic growth to take place, and therefore an increase in employment, and therefore a positive multiplier effect, and indeed greater tax revenue going to the government, potentially through more profits, more wages, or indeed more spending if those things are taxed, and also good export earnings for the country. Also, if you've got a plentiful and large labour supply, then that's quite ideal for them to work at, for these people to work in an area such as agriculture. And it doesn't require a big investment. In fact, you can have small-scale technology that results in an improvement in output. An example might be high-yielding varieties of crops, for example. Whereas if manufacturing could take a big increase in investment to invest, say, in new plant and machinery. So, as E.F. Schumacher pointed out, you could have intermediate technology, simple technology, which is low-level investment, now called appropriate technology, such as a bike-powered pump, water pump, a hand-powered water pump. This level of technology might help, and it's certainly a low-level investment. Again, it often attracts foreign direct investment. For example, China has invested in Central African countries in road and in rail. Okay, and it could be a stepping stone to further development through the reinvestment of profits made in the primary sector. Of course, there are a few assumptions there. Right, now we'll come to look at the serious disadvantages. And the disadvantages of being reliant on primary produce, and why it's a barrier to growth, primary production, is, first of all, we've got this problem of low value added. Now, what is value added? It's simply the output of a firm measured in a currency, and from the output you take the input, and that is the value added for the firm. So, for example, if you grow some coffee beans, and you sell them on the market, okay, you've taken them from the ground and then sell them in the world market. There's a little bit of value added there, the difference between the output and the input. But take those coffee beans, process them, roast them, make them into a delicious cup of coffee, at a great cafe, then the value added is enormous. The coffee beans, the raw coffee might cost 1 or 2p. But people are paying £2–3 for the coffee, so that's big value added. Well, the problem is, for many developing countries, this value added takes place in rich countries through strong brands. Example, maybe Starbucks, which I pop into sometimes. Okay, low value added is the problem with these primary products. Secondly, we've got this huge problem of the price elasticity demand being inelastic. So a change in demand, a shift in the demand curve, can have a big effect on price. And similarly, the price elasticity of supply is inelastic, certainly in the short run for agricultural goods, because you plant them, they grow, you harvest them, and then you plant some more, and you could obviously increase production with the second or third crop potentially. But the PES for primary products is often elastic, and therefore if you've got a near vertical demand curve and supply curve. If there's a sudden shift, say, to the right in supply, so say you have a bumper harvest, then prices will fall and your revenues will fall. Similarly, if you get an extreme weather event, if you have a natural disaster, if you have a plague of locusts, then suddenly the supply will shift to the left. Okay, the price will go up, but the price is very volatile. So with demand or supply shifting, there are big changes in the price level for a primary product such as coffee beans. Okay, and so price therefore tends to be very volatile, and therefore so do earnings, and therefore income is very volatile for a country whose exports are dependent on one or two primary commodities. Zambia is a very good example of a country dependent on copper ore. The income will tend to be volatile, and this creates a great deal of uncertainty. As we know, uncertainty is not great for investment or for future planning, so you'll tend to have a low level of investment in terms of improving productivity in these industries. Of course, the other problem is, the oil, the copper ore, zinc ore, uranium ore will eventually run out. And of course, even in agriculture, you have a problem of a monoculture if you've grown one cash crop all the time, and that leads to soil damage, etc., etc. So certainly have limited resources, and eventually resources will run out, so it's important to invest elsewhere. It's important to use the revenue from your primary product to invest in human and physical capital. Most development economists would make that point. And then the second problem is, of course, the old problem of protectionism. So if you're a developing country trying to export a commodity, say tomatoes or something like that, into the European Union or United States of America, you tend to find there are often high tariff barriers. So the Common Agricultural Policy of the EU has pretty high tariff barriers on many products, and therefore that will significantly harm your export performance in a primary product. There's also these problems here, the Dutch disease problem, where if you export, say, oil, leads to an appreciation of the exchange rate, and that has a harmful effect on other industries. There's the Prebisch-Singer hypothesis and the Paul Collier's resource curse. See another video, or see the other videos for details of these. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Bye.